We are
Live
recording.
stream it.
Whenever you're ready, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. I'll call this meeting of the Trent Hills Council to order, and I will read this for you. This council meeting is being held by electronic participation pursuant to the municipality's procedural bylaw 2020-020 as amended and section 238 3.1 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended. The meeting will be live streamed on the municipality's YouTube channel. The video recording will be uploaded to the Municipality of Trent Hills website following the meeting. I would now ask for adoption of the agenda. Be resolved that the agenda for the council meeting of September the 1st, 2020 be received and adopted. Doug, would you do a roll call, please?
Mover and seconder, Your Worship.
Ah, that's a good idea. We'll start with that. Could I have a mover and seconder?
So moved, Bob.
Moved by Gene, second by Rick. All in favor? Oh, you're going to call the vote. Okay.
Yeah. Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf. You're on mute, sir.
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Mayor Crate.
Yes.
Carried by 7, Your Worship.
Thank you. Disclosure of peculiar interest, and I have Rosemary is disclosing on items 8H and 12H, and Kathy will disclose for closed session item 14B. Would you both do that for the record, please?
I will disclose on the closed session, and the clerk has informed me that I will be removed from hearing and seeing.
Perfect. Rose?
And I'm disclosing on the 12, sorry,
8H,
8
12H.
and 12, 8, with a pecuniary interest that the proponent is clients of our real estate business.
Thank you. So noted. Minutes of the council meeting held August the 4th. Be resolved that the minutes for the council meeting held on August the 4th, 2020 be received and adopted as presented or amended. Can I get a mover and seconder for that, please?
So moved.
Moved by
I'll
Kathy,
second.
second by Ken. Call the roll, please.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Mayor Crate.
Yes,
Carried by 7, Your Worship.
thank you. Minutes of the public hearings and public meetings held on August the 5th, 2020. Be resolved that the minutes of the public meetings held on August the 5th, 2020 be received. And a mover and seconder, please.
So moved.
Moved by Rose, second by Mike. Would you call the vote, please?
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Mayor Crate.
Yes, yes.
Carried by 7, Your Worship.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Deputations, we have none, and we have no presentations. We're at reports of municipal officers. Report THF 2020-09. Read the Fire Department's monthly report for July 2020. Be it resolved that staff report THF 2020-09 from Tim Blake, Fire Chief, Fire Department monthly report, July 2020, be received for information. And we have a mover and a seconder, please.
So moved.
Moved by Rose,
I'll second.
second by Kathy. Would you call the vote, please, Doug?
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Mayor Crate.
Yes,
Carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. We report EDC 2020-09, Community Improvement Plan application for 67 Queen Street, Camelford. Be resolved that staff report EDC 2020-09 from Kira Mees, Community Development Officer, Community Improvement Plan application for 67 Queen Street, Camelford, be received for information. And that the Community Improvement Plan application funding request for Sarah Sanyal, owner of Dockside Bistro at 67 Queen Street, Camelford, be approved to an upset limit of $11,000, that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward for council's consideration, and that the application be advised of council's decision on the community development officer's signature. I have a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Ken, second by Mike. Any discussion? Mike?
Yeah, through you, your worship. Here, I know they've been working on this property for quite a while, and it is looking promising. Do you know if there's any deadlines? I'm just curious as to hopefully getting them up and going. If they've been working hard at it during this trying times of opening a new business.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, it has been a challenging time for them. They were really in the worst kind of situation, but they are hopeful, and I've had a meeting with them last week about their grand opening. So the end is in sight. I don't have a date, but they're hoping, probably this fall.
Anyone else?
Here, Bob?
Yes, Gene.
I'm just happy to see something happening with that property. It's a pretty ambitious project, and I've read through some of the issues they've had to deal with, but in the end result, it'll be an improvement to what's been happening there, and glad to see the Trent Hills $11,000 is a bit of an assist to them.
That's great. Thank you, Gene. Anyone else? And call the vote, please, Doug.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Mayor Crate.
Yes,
Carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. The next report is planning 2020-29, severance application B18-2020, and zoning amendment application C8-2020. Be resolved that staff report planning 2020-29 from Liz Stillman, planning coordinator, severance consent application B18-2020 and zoning amendment application C08-2020, severance consent application B18-2020 and zoning amendment application C08-2020, part of lot 16, concession 10, 98 County Road 35, County Road 35, Philip and Alana Dijon and Judy Dijon be received for information. And can I get a mover and seconder for that?
Your worship, there's another part to that. The
Oh,
next
okay.
paragraph.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And that severance consent application B18-2020 from Philip and Alana Dijon and Judy Dijon with respect to property located at concession 10, part of lot 16, 98 County Road 35, former township of Percy, and concession 10, part lot 16, County Road 35, former township of Percy, for application to sever one parcel from concession 10, part lot 16, being approximately 42.35 acres, in which the severed parcel will serve as a lot addition and merge to the adjacent lands to the east and southeast, located at concession 10, part lot 16, County Road 35, be approved with the conditions as set forth in the report. Number one, okay, so you got a mover and seconder for that, please.
So move.
Moved by Rose, seconded by Ken. Call the vote, please, Doug.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes,
Councillor English,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. Part 2 of that is the zoning amendment application. Be resolved that zoning amendment application CO8-2020 from Philip and Alana DeJean and Judy DeJean with respect to property located at concession 10, part of lot 60, 98 County Road 35, former township of Percy, to rezone the retained portion of severance consent application B18-2020 to rural residential be approved. Can I get a seconder for that, please? Moved by
I
Rick
move.
and seconded by Jean. Call the vote, please, Doug.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes,
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. Next, we have planning 2020-0, the severance consent application B19-2020. Be resolved that staff report planning 2020-30 from Liz Stillman, planning coordinator, re severance consent application B19-2020, 40, 41, 42, and 43, and 45 Westview Road from Jason Bain be received for information, and that severance consent application B19-2020 from Jason Bain with respect to properties located at 40, 41, 42, 43, and 45 Westview Road, former township of Percy, to recreate 5 separate parcels which have merged in title be approved with conditions as set forth in the report. Do I have a mover and seconder for that, please?
So
Moved by-
moved.
And seconded by,
Sure, I'll second it.
anyone have any questions on that? Okay, Gene, do you have a question?
Bob,
Yes,
it's just concerning all this issues of lots merging and then separating them again. We've got another one coming up where we're going to merge them together. But in the last couple of days, I've had 2 property owners ask me that they have lots that are separated and they want to merge them and they can't merge them. So I guess we need some clarity on what goes on with these lots that are side by side, and we shouldn't be doing one thing one time and the next time staff is saying that you can't do that. So is there a quick answer to all that, Jim?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there is not a quick answer. This is a legal issue that not only drives property owners a bit crazy, but planners too, because it seems we run into this where property owners buy another piece and it merges. Or in this case, I think it was an estate situation where someone passed away and lands all went under one name. And so to return them to the separate titles, we have to go through this process. In other cases, and I too have had conversations with people trying to merge properties together, but those lands were created by severance, created by consent. And so once a lot, always a lot under consent, you have to go through quite a procedure to reverse it. And it has to be the expense of the consent process and another survey again. So it is a challenge. We try to advise people to keep things in separate title names when they purchase things, if they want them to stay that way. But we do run into this from time to time. And certainly bring forward a report with more legal information for if it would provide more clarity. I don't know whether it would.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Rose?
So just a quick question, Jim. So basically, we're not doing this. It's going through land registry, or is that where it's merging together, or is it the lawyers? Like, where is it getting hitched and unhitched?
Yes, it's a legal function of the way the Planning Act is worded. And so it's a legal mechanism, I guess you'd say. And I mean, we're dealing with it a bit right now, but I mean, it doesn't really happen as often as we might think it does. But we do try to talk to people and say, if you're going to buy property, you want to keep it separate, you have to be careful, talk to your lawyer. And if you do really want to merge it, here's what might be involved. And we usually interact with the lawyers quite a bit to try and resolve these things.
And I guess what I'm getting at is that we need to get the message out there that we're not doing it. It's happening because of that process. So it's not you, it's not Liz, it's not council, it's not the municipality that is merging all this stuff together. So when people ask, I like your advice, Jim, yeah, to deal with it that way of trying to keep the parcels separate when they register them. Thank you.
Okay. Doug, would you call the question, please?
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 7, your worship.
Thank you. Planning report 2020-31, Severn consent application B20-2020. Be resolved that staff report planning 2020-31 from Liz Stillman, planning coordinator, re-severance consent application B20-2020, Gocher Road, 98 Gocher Road, John Robinson, Carrie Ann Kidd be received for information. That severance consent application B2020 from John Robinson, Carrie Ann Kidd, with respect to the property located at Concession 3, part of Lot 3, Gocher Road, former Township of Seymour, and Concession 3, part of Lot 3, 98 Gocher Road, former Township of Seymour, to merge two separate parcels which had previously been severed, be approved with the conditions as set out in this report. We have a mover and seconder for that one, please. Moved by Rick. Seconded by
I'll
Mike. Any discussion? Would you call the question, please, Doug?
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 7, your worship.
Thank you. Report from Planning 2020-32 zoning amendment application C06-2020. Be it resolved that staff report Planning 2020-32 from Liz Stillman, Planning Coordinator, rezoning amendment application C06-2020, 44 Doxy Avenue North for Curtis Ducey and Andrea Bull, 511-825 Ontario Limited, Bob Connor be received for information. That zoning amendment application C06-2020 from Curtis Ducey and Andrea Bull and 511-825 Ontario Limited, Bob Connor, with respect to property located at Lot 8, Plan 112, 44 Doxy Avenue North, former town of Campbellford, to rezone the subject property from general commercial C1 to residential 2 R2, which will permit a change of use to a multi-unit residential dwelling be approved. Do I have a mover and seconder for that, please? Moved by Ken. Second by-
No, Doug, no, Doug, I can't get out. I muted myself, but I can't get out of the video.
Rose, this isn't the item. We've got 2 more items. We're on F at the moment.
Sorry.
In that case, you'd like to second it?
Sure.
Uh,
A legal kettle of fish there.
Yeah. Any questions? Would you call the vote, please, Doug?
Counselor Tully,
Yes.
Counselor Bratney,
Yes.
Counselor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Counselor Metcalf,
Yes.
Counselor Redden,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, Your Worship.
thank you. Planning report, 2020-33, zoning amendment application C07-2020. Be resolved that staff report planning 2020-33 from Liz Stillman, planning coordinator, rezoning amendment application C07-2020-2020, concession 8, part of lot 5, being part on RD Plan 42, County Road 45, Cindy Soke and Frank Perkins be received for information. The zoning amendment application C07-20-2020 from Cindy Soke and Frank Perkins with respect to property located at concession 8, part of lot 5, being part 5 on RD Plan 42, County Road 45, former township of Percy, to rezone the subject property from rural environmental protection and environmentally sensitive to special rural residential environmental protection and environmentally sensitive to be approved. Have a mover and seconder for that, please.
Vote Bob.
Moved by Jean,
Sure, I'll second.
seconded by Kathy. Any discussion? Would you call the, oh, Jean?
I just hope that the new property that they erect is just as good as appeasing to the eyesight as the one that's present where they live in. It's a
Perfect.
wonderful setting.
Well, great, thank you. Doug, would you call the vote, please?
Counselor Bratney,
Yes.
Counselor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Counselor Metcalf,
Yes.
Counselor Redden,
Yes.
Counselor Tully,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, Your Worship.
thank you. And Rose? This
I
is,
will turn off her video, sir.
thank you.
There we go.
Okay, report planning 2020-34, zoning and amendment of application C10-2020. Be resolved that staff report planning 2020-34 from Jim Peters, Director of Planning and Development, rezoning amendment application C10-2020, part lot 7, concession 4, County Road 30, for Harry Voskamp, Carolyn Bingley, be received for information. And that zoning amendment application C10-2020 for Harry Voskamp and Caroline Bingley with respect to property located in part lot 7, concession 4, County Road 30, former township of Seymour, to rezone the subject property from rural residential to a site-specific highway commercial C2, which will permit the change of use and construction of a farm-style market, flower shop, greenhouse, be approved. Have a mover and seconder for that, please.
So moved.
By Mike, seconded by Jean. Any discussion?
Mayor?
Oh, Rick?
It's a quick question, Jim. Jim, I remember we talked about this at the last meeting. Any word from the county? Remember there was something about this fence they wanted around the property? Did you hear back from them at all about that?
No, through you, Mr. Mayor. I did talk to the applicants. They're perfectly willing to put up a fence as required. It would probably be like a white wooden fence with the page wire inside of that. So it'll be a little more attractive than just the page wire.
Correct. Okay, thank you, Jim.
Michael?
I would be interested to hear what their reasoning for having that in their request would be, seeing as we've had so many other on county roads, but yet it's the first time we've seen a request for a fence from the county. So unless anyone knows.
through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure. It's not something we imposed through the consent. It's simply something that the applicants are willing to do, probably because they have the alpacas. It's something they're planning on doing anyway, but we can get back to the county and ask them about that condition.
Thank you. Would you call the vote, please, Doug?
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 6, your worship.
thank you.
I've asked the deputy mayor to restart her video. It'll be in the 3 buttons in the upper right. There she is.
Hi, Rose. We are now at Planning Report 2020-06, Habitat for Humanity Project Hastings. We resolve that staff report Planning 2020-36 from Jim Peters, Director of Planning and Development, read the Habitat for Humanity Project Hastings be received for information. That to support the Habitat for Humanity project on Part 51, Block K, Lot 12, corner of Queen Street and Elgin Street, former village of Hastings, the value of the land to be established, and we haven't done that, that the process to declare Part 51, Block K, Lot 12, corner of Queen Street and Elgin Street, former village of Hastings be commenced in accordance with municipal policy, and that the Habitat for Humanity be advised of council's decision under the Director of Planning and Development signature. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Rose,
I'll second.
second by Kathy. Any discussion?
Your worship, we need a value for the blank for the land value.
Link, yeah. Well, okay, let's discuss that. What's a lot worth? Is it a lot worth 40, 50,000, $60,000? I don't know. Mike, you're on mute, of course.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Through you, your worship, I find I'm happy to support, and that I think that's what we all decided at the last time that this came through council, is to support this initiative to increase the housing in our communities. I find that a $2 value on this property is maybe not meeting in the middle between the Habitat for Humanity and the municipality. With the value of the property that's in the report, and a few phone calls to people in the industry, that property is probably worth about $100,000 that we're looking at. So when you do the numbers at $2, plus the value of what we would get for development charges and whatnot for that property, we'd be letting it go for $20,000, which is significantly less than what the value of it is. I understand the essence of partnering with Habitat for Humanity, but I think we need to come up with a more reasonable number than $2. And I kind of feel it was I'm not sure where $2 came from, but I would almost say it's a bit insulting, but a discussion to have. That's my opinion on it. I don't have a value right now. I'd like to hear what anyone else feels about it.
Anyone else? Ken?
I guess I had some concerns too about the $2 value, and I was wondering, I believe Coburg or Port Hope or other municipalities have also done this type of thing. I was wondering if we had any background knowledge on what they had charged for a vacant lot. And my other concern was it mentions there a septic permit, and I'm assuming where this lot is located that it would be hooked up to sanitation with the municipality rather than a septic system. I just wanted to clarify that it wouldn't be a septic system if this deal was approved.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if you recall the previous report, it did indicate that that lot had water service but not sanitary. So the lots in that area are all on septic systems.
Thanks, Jim. Anyone else?
I could just go, I don't have any information on what other lots and other communities were sold for. I think in previous reports, we did discuss having an appraisal done for the lot. So that might be an answer to the question. Put it back to Habitat for Humanity, have them do the appraisal, and then negotiate a price from there.
Okay, Kathy, and then Rick, and then Mike.
I think it's worthy of having an appraisal just to understand what it is that we have as an asset. But there's sort of two prices here. One is the price of the lot, and the other is the cost of the services that will be required to sort of make it happen, that the municipality would take. And it'd be nice to see, you know, how comparable they are. I think this is a very worthy project, and a lot of other municipalities probably have gone through the same discussions we're having right now, and maybe have some information they could provide us with in terms of supporting the project, but also not making it at the expense of a lot of other individuals. There's that fine line, I think probably Councillor Metcalf is looking for. I don't know, I guess the lot could be worth 100,000. I'm not sure at this point it is. It must be pretty special if it is, but I think that I would be interested. I mean, I moved it for discussion. I support the project. I'm willing to see this, or to second it, I guess. But I'm willing to see, as one of the movers, to for further information as well, if you wanted to table it for a further discussion.
Okay. Richard?
Yeah, I tend to agree with what Mike and Kathy has said as well. I think we need to get an appraisal of this. I do know, Jim, also that the town of Coburg has done several Habitat for Housing for the town there. I think that's where we should go. It should be appraised, and I don't know if we meet them halfway or whatever we do, but for sure the development charges and all the other charges associated, you know, municipality has to recoup them. So I'm in favor of possibly tabling this and get a proper appraisal on it. Thank you.
Michael?
Thank you. When I looked into the Habitat for Humanity, I did a little bit of reading, and so they sell these properties back at fair market value, with a mortgage to the homeowner at no more than 30% of different expenses. It includes property taxes in there. So I mean, they're not giving the housing away either. So I just don't see. We need to meet somewhere. I think everyone else agrees that a little bit more in the middle to determine the price. It also says in the letter from the executive director that the property tax revenue would offset any discount or perceived loss through this sale. Is there any numbers at all on what a property tax for that property be? I guess it would depend on value of home and all that kind of stuff once we get there. But to me, it would be I mean, it's a stretch to put that in there as to how long it will be to receive the revenue from property tax to discount any perceived loss. But again, I think an assessment of the property would be wise, and a negotiation to meet somewhere more reasonably in the middle to get this going forward.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, and Rose, go ahead. You're muted, Rose. You're still muted. There you go.
I agree with the comments that has been discussed here. If you look at the properties that are selling in Hastings right now, I'm not sure what square footage this house is going to be. I mean, 300 is low, 400, 500 is medium. I guess what I looked at with this is the future, is a couple of things, is the human side of it. allowing a family to have a home who probably otherwise couldn't, but also the the water and sewer hookup, etc., taxes, kids going to school, all that support that you get in the future. But I agree, like if you want to take a look at some of the questions that have come up, absolutely. Value for 100,000 is not a high price, is not. There's properties, there's lots in town in Campbellford right now that are selling, a couple that have gone over the 100 mark to 150. So 110, 120, 150 for an in-town lot. I would like it better if that lot had been on sewer, if it had the sewer pipe, but that's something for down the road, I guess.
Okay, thanks, Rose. Yeah, my 2 cents for this is, I agree we should get a cost on it and an appraisal. I mean, we're gonna have people that, that are concerned that with us giving this away. So it would be nice to have a value and then decide how much we would like to contribute to it. So yes, Doug?
Your worship, if it's council's desire and with the consent of the mover and seconder, we can strike the second clause that asks for the land value and change it to, and that an appraisal be obtained for the value of the subject lot. And then we can leave the other pieces in place, because if we're going forward, we'll still have to work through the surplus process, and Habitat would still be advised.
Okay,
Fine.
Yeah, I'd be in agreement.
okay. So everyone, okay, so that's motion changed, as Doug has said, and it's agreeable to the mover and seconder. Anyone else wish to speak? We'll call the vote, please, Doug.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes,
Councillor English,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. We're now at report from the clerk, CLK 2020-12, Civil Marriage Solemnization Service. Call the staff report CLK 2020-12 from Doug Irwin, Director of Legislative Services Clerk. Read the Civil Marriage Solemnization Service in the municipality of Trent Hills be received for information, and that the clerk's delegation of duties to Wendell E. White as an officiant to perform civil marriage ceremonies within the municipality of Trent Hills be acknowledged, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward for council's consideration. Have a mover and seconder for that, please.
I'll move.
Moved by Kathy, seconded by Rick. Any discussion? Kathy?
I just want to say I know this gentleman and I think he'll do an excellent job.
Thank you. Call the vote, please, Doug.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
yes,
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. Report CAO 2020-13, Municipal Office Reopening Plan Update. Be resolved that staff report CAO-2020-13 from Lynn Phillips, Chief Administrative Officer, read the Municipal Office Reopening Plan Update be received for information, and that the Phase 2 of the Municipal Office Reopening Plan, as set out in staff report CAO 2020-13, be approved and implemented effective September the 8th, 2020. Mover and second, please. Moved by Rick, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? Then Ken, no. Mike?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Am I good?
Yeah.
Yeah, through you, your worship. I'm happy to see it this going forward. I know that we're still in challenging times, but it'll be nice to get a little bit back to the regular. We're doing that a little bit more on a regular basis as far as business goes, and it's nice to see that the municipality will be somewhat back and doing business again. So carefully, small steps, but good to see.
Thanks, Mike. Anyone else? Call the vote, please, Doug.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, your worship.
thank you. We have updates of members of council. We'll start with, how about Kathy?
Okay, I really don't have a lot. August was a slow month primarily because there weren't any fairs. But I do want to just thank council, in particular your worship, for the letter that was written. A week or so ago, Minister Hardeman did announce that the Ontario Ag Societies would be eligible to apply for their annual grants, despite not staging fairs. So that was one good bit of news that did come forward. So thanks for your letter writing. I think every bit helps. And other than that, it's been a lovely month for sun and relaxation. Although I understand a lot of people have found that Trent Hills is a good place to come to, and it still stretches our resources, but it'll work out. Thank you.
Jean?
Mayor, I don't have anything to comment other than just to reflect on the passing of Dave Nelson in Keene, one of Ontario's longest serving reeves, something like 44 years. And he's passed away due to cancer related illness. Glad to see him go.
Okay, Mike? You're muted.
I had a Orca board meeting, so we got some pretty good information from the director up there. They've been able to offset a lot of the losses through camping and different revenues, and we're looking at the projection that that he had set out at the beginning of COVID. So hopefully we'll be okay to go forward with that to mitigate any revenue loss. I've been fielding a few calls about a bridge closure in Hastings for pedestrians for 2 weeks. Back and forth with the county. I know Mayor has also been looking into that, so I haven't heard anything final. I don't know, Mayor, if you have anything from a county level on that, whether it's anything has come back. The biggest thing is about getting kids across the bridge to school. That'll be the first full week of school that the county is proposing to have the bridge closed for the rest of the councillors that aren't aware of the closure. I've also been asked about the composting on the county level, and I've looked into multiple resident buildings, specifically the senior complex here in Hastings, and pulling the bylaw that those buildings of anything of 5 units or more are not in the green bin program. So that's something that I'll be looking into in the future to see what that bylaw is and why that's in there as far as a limit on providing those services to multi-unit buildings. That's all I've got for you today.
Thank you very much. Richard?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the only thing I have to report is I did accept the 2020 challenge from the Bridge Hospice. They certainly are hurting. Their 3 major fundraising events have been canceled this year due to COVID, and that is, they really relied on those events for keeping the house going. So anyway, I had to come up with something to do with number 20. So I've also decided to donate 20 non-perishable food items to our local food bank, which is also hurting as well. I have talked to the director about it, and they could use some help as well. So doing all right. I'd like to personally thank a couple of familiar faces on the screen here that has donated to my fundraising page. Much appreciated. And it was just blasted out last Thursday, and as of this morning, I had $3,690 that I've fundraised so far. So it's a real win-win situation, and a little hesitant on doing it, but boy, do I ever feel good now that I've done it. So any help be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Mr. Tully.
It's been quiet as far as meetings go. We have had a number of issues from some of our residents, which we've been dealing with staff, and as usual, staff has been very supportive, and I think we have one more issue we're dealing with, but other than that, no meeting scheduled for a while.
That's great. Rosemary?
Well, we had a Galford BIA meeting on August the 17th, and I had some really good compliments about our downtown and the flowers that were put out this year, and how nice the town square looked. And that came from a fairly new property business owner in the downtown area. And we're kind of brainstorming going forward for the fall, working with the Chamber of Commerce on some advertising and continuing to encourage people to support local and come to the downtown and grab your masks, and we're here and we're open. Have had a couple of complaints come in, of course, on the same usual stuff that everybody else has had. So did a little tour on the weekend, and there was still a couple of, I'll say, hot spots that seem to be quite the attractions for some people, which is fine as long as people are respectful of the citizens and the land. But unfortunately, there seems to be a few issues there. And on the 25th, we had a foundation nomination meeting for the foundation board and the AGM coming up in a couple of weeks. So that's just about it for me.
Thanks, Rose. Well, I too heard this morning about Dave Nelson, and I was sad because when I first went on council, I sat on Orca and was lucky enough to sort of walk in and sit down next to somebody I didn't know, and it was Dave Nelson. And so I was fortunate to have Dave next to me to give me some education and schooling on what goes on and this sort of thing. So he was a great guy, and I'm very sorry to hear of his passing. The bridge closer, the last I had talked with Denise, they think they can keep it down to 1 week, hopefully. What they have to do is when they are doing the joint on where the walking part of the swing bridge is, when they do the joint between the bridge and they will have to close that walking area for that period of time. But they are looking at is having a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the evening where they would shut down the work and allow us to have a crossing guard get the kids across the bridge. And then once that's done, the second week, we could have a crossing guard there to help get people across the bridge for that week. So I think, it's a tough situation, but I think the county is, Denise has worked very hard to work with the engineer and the contractor. So it looks like, we will have a time in the morning, in the afternoon to get the kids across the bridge. We may have to, deal with the school as far as making sure that they don't lollygag, as mother used to say, on their way home or to school, so that they get in that window when the walking part is open. But it will be open at nights. It will be open on weekends. So hopefully we can survive that. Anyone? And then my other bugaboo, of course, is speeding. I'm getting more phone calls on that, and I am going to contact the office and ask them if there's anything they can do as far. It's my contention that we should be looking at other ways. I mean, there has to be a way we can slow people down, and I don't know what it is. I mean, if it's radar, then then I'm in favor of doing it, because those kids that cross that street up there are probably our greatest possessions, and we should be protecting them. And there is no reason to be doing 75, 80 kilometers an hour coming into this municipality. Or, I mean, it's happening in all. I mean, we can do right now, I guess we can apply to do radar in community zones, which would give us 3 or 4 places that we could do it. But I mean, I get calls about County Road 50 out by Bill Thompson's. I mean, every place that has an entrance to our municipalities, I'm getting phone calls from people saying that, and apparently, if you go out and say something, you only get rude comments. So, I'd be open to any suggestions that, that we could hopefully come up with. So that's my rant for today. So there we are. Any questions on the crossing and stuff? Okay, then we will carry on.
Lynn, did you have?
Oh, it's okay. I was just going to say, I did just get an email from the county regarding the crossing. There was some discussion about them revisiting potentially busing students, but that's not going to happen. And they have officially requested a crossing guard from us. So they're actually going to be in touch with the clerk's department to determine if we have someone available and how that's all going to work and how long they need somebody. And I'm assuming that will be at the county's expense. So that's the latest.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are at the consent agenda. We have minutes of the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance meeting held on July the 9th, 2020. We have correspondence for the 20th Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day, October the 22nd, 2020. And we have correspondence for the Safe Restart Funding Phase 1 allocation. We resolved that staff recommendations with respect to consent agenda items 10A to 10C be adopted as printed. Can I get a mover and seconder for that, please? Moved by Rick, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? Michael?
Yeah, just through your worship, on 10B, the Safe Restart Funding Phase, have we had a chance to determine any numbers or anything on that? I know that they've set a fairly quick deadline on when they need to get information back. Just curious.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Well, the deadline, the reporting deadline, I think, is next March. I think there's a deadline in October, though, if you feel you're going to need more funds, so you can apply for phase 2. From what I've heard, most municipalities are not doing that. We are putting together a report. It will come to council soon, but part of it will be in determining some decisions that will be made around the arena reopening, for example. We have got a pretty good handle on what's been spent to date on COVID-related operating expenses, but certainly those rec facilities, if we're looking at opening them in the fall, those incremental costs for the additional staffing and cleaning and all those protocols that we're going to have to implement would also be eligible for this funding. So depending on some of the decisions that are going to be made by council fairly quickly, will determine how much of that money will be allocated this year. The good thing about this funding is it's $440,000, which is significant. If it's not used in this fiscal year, whatever's not used can be rolled over to next year because we're still going to have COVID-related operating expenses next year. Our treasurer, Valerie, is working on another update report for council on the COVID-related expenses that have been incurred to date for the end of the third quarter. So that will give you that very clear picture of that. And then as the decisions are made with rec facilities, we can determine, or council can decide then how much more will be allocated towards that fund.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay. Then call the question, please, Doug.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes,
carried by 7, Your Worship.
thank you. We have no communications or petitions. We will go to the bylaws. Be resolved that bylaw number 2020-58, bylaw number 2020-67, bylaw number 2020-68, bylaw number 2020-69, bylaw number 2020-70, bylaw number 2020-71, bylaw number 2020-72, be read a first, second, and third time passed, properly signed and sealed by the clerk and mayor. Do we have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by moved by Rose,
Oh, second.
seconded by Kathy. Any discussion? Call the vote, please, Doug.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 7, Your Worship. I will
Thank you.
turn off the Deputy Mayor's video for the next item.
We are at. Are we going to close motions? No.
No, Your Worship, we have the
Second motion,
formal
yeah.
bylaw that the Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, Rosemary's disclosed for the, be resolved that bylaw number 2020-73 be read a first, second, and third time passed and properly signed and sealed by the clerk and mayor. Do a mover and seconder for that one, please. Moved by Ken, seconded by Rick. Any discussion? Call the vote, please, Doug.
Councillor Tully,
Yeah, yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 6, Your Worship.
Thank you. We have no motions. This time we will go into closed session. Kathy is disclosed for the closed session.
Yeah, Your Worship. So what I will do is I will place Councillor Redden out of the meeting. And then after we complete the motion, after we rise, I will let her back into the meeting. And once we pass our motion, I will stop the live stream. We will pause the recording and we will resume the recording when we are prepared to rise again.
Thank you. Be it resolved, we do now go into closed session at 3 p.m. to discuss acquisition, disposition of land in Camelford Business Park. Do a mover and seconder for that, please.
So moved.
Mike, second by Rose. Any discussion? Call the vote, please, Doug.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
Okay, one moment, Your Worship, and I'll work on, live stream should be stopped. Your Worship, we have restarted the recording and we are ready to rise from closed session.
So moved by Ken. Seconded by Rose, that we rise. Can you call the question, please, Doug?
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes?
for English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 7, Your Worship.
Yeah, 3:15.
Yes.
Okay. So we are now at,
Oh, motion emanating from closed, Your Worship. Did I give that to you?
yeah, that's acquisition disposition of land count for business park.
Yes, sir.
Be resolved that closed session staff report planning 2020-35 from Jim Peters, Director of Planning and Develop, reacquisition disposition of land in the Camelford Business Park be received for information, and that staff proceed with option, and that was option 2,
Yes.
making the motion, and Rick is seconding it. As identified in closed session staff report planning 2020-35, and that the applicant be advised of council's decision under the Director of Planning and Development's signature. So let's move by Mike, seconded by Rick. Any further discussion? We call the vote, please.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes?
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 6, Your Worship, and I will readmit Councillor Redden into the meeting.
Thank you. Hi, Kathy. Okay, we're ready, Doug? Okay,
Worship,
thank you. The confirmation bylaw be resolved that bylaw number 2020-074, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on Tuesday, September the 1st, 2020, be read a first, second, and third time, passed, properly signed and sealed by the clerk and mayor. Mover and seconder, please. Moved by Rick, seconded by Rose. Call the question, please.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Mayor Crate,
Yes.
carried by 7, Your Worship.
Thank you. Be resolved that we now do adjourn at 3:18 PM. A mover. Rick, you should jump in here. Yeah, and a seconder.
Mayor,
Yes, Gene.
when are we going to meet again? In September?
Your Worship, the next meeting is scheduled for September 15th at 9:30 a.m.
Are we thinking we might be in our new home?
We're not sure at this point. We are hopeful, but we'll see. If we're not there in that, possibly the end of the month for the meeting on the 29th. Failing that, it'll be October.
Thank you.
Seconder, Your Worship.
Yes. Mover and seconder.
I have the mover. I just need the seconder, sir.
I'll
Oh,
second it.
Rose second. Thank you. And call the vote.
Councillor English,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelleher McLennan,
Yes.
Councillor Metcalf,
Yes.
Councillor Redden,
Yes.
Councillor Tully,
Yes.
Councillor Bratney,
Yes.
Mayor Crate.
Yes.
Your Worship, we are, it was carried by 7. We are adjourned, and